and welcome to the Code Clarity podcast. I'm Jean.
And I'm Rena. And in today's podcast, we're talking about all things disease awareness. This is a subject that we get a lot of questions about. So what we've decided to do is to pick the top 4 questions and address them. So without further ado, question 1, Jean, over to you. Can you tell us about a recent case ruling in this area?
Yeah, there's been a very recent case ruling. It was on against MSD and their Stop the Spot campaign. This was a campaign that they had classified as an advocacy campaign because it wasn't just aimed at the public. They had a website for the public. They also had some adverts in the political playbook, which is aimed at policymakers. And it was to encourage people to sign up for a petition to say that the UK needs a chickenpox vaccination schedule. So the complaint was that by encouraging people to sign up for this chickenpox vaccination schedule, that they would be increasing the use of their product and cause people to want to know about their chickenpox vaccine. Now, there was the MSD, I think, defended this well, and they didn't get any breaches at all. The reason I think that they didn't get any breaches was that they were able to demonstrate that right from the start, before they even began this campaign, they had really considered what they were going to do, who it was aimed at, and what the purpose of the campaign was. So they were very able to set out very clearly their thought process behind it. And they were able to show that this campaign was about the vaccination schedule, not their individual product. And what also helped them was that there's more than one chickenpox vaccination on the market. So the panel did rule that the nature of how they'd set up the campaign and also the fact that it wasn't just their product on the market meant that there was no breaches. But that leads me to the second question, which I would probably rank as one of the most common ones we get asked is, if you do just have, it's only your product that's available on the market, can you still do disease awareness, or should you just shy away?
But you can see where this question comes from, because if the MSD ruling is saying it's okay because there's lots on the market, then somebody could read that and go, oh, but if there's only one on the market, it can't be okay. When actually disease awareness and its relationship to products, I mean, the whole product question is completely irrelevant. Whether you've got one product or 5 products, licensed or pre-licensed, it doesn't matter, because disease awareness is about disease. So an analogy I tend to use when we're training is to talk about a prescription-only medicine, which is licensed in something like heartburn. If you don't think about the brand, right, because you shouldn't be, you should think about the target audience, a member of the public. Think about, what do they need to know about heartburn? Well, they need to know that it occurs with fatty foods, that it occurs late at night, they should sit up after a meal, they should have a glass of water. And in fact, by giving them all this really useful information, we haven't pointed at our product at all, because we've thought about a member of the public. So yes is the simple answer. We can, of course, do disease awareness if you're the only product. The third question is really one about language. So we hear a lot about campaigns that are disease awareness for HCPs. Can you comment on that, Jean?
Yeah, so that's a no. Disease awareness is quite clearly, it's stated in the ABPI code, disease awareness is for the public. So information to HCPs is either going to be promotional or it's going to be medical education. It's not going to be disease awareness. And I think this kind of misclassification can get companies into trouble, because then they're not, as MSD were able to show, they're not thinking clearly about what they can and can't do for those. They can get confused. And I guess the other thing that then we get asked a lot about is that when companies do disease awareness posts, or if there's corporate information about the therapy areas that companies are interested in, when does that become disease awareness? And what about how it's approved to be put on social media and how people can interact with it?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Categorization at the outset is really key, and it really plays out in social media. So if a company, for example, did a really great disease awareness post, It's, you know, it's disease awareness when you've read it and you've learned something about the disease. It's a corporate post when all you've learned about is something about your company with no information about the disease. So a company celebrating World Obesity Day, that's about the company. But a stat about obesity and how many people are living with it, that's disease awareness.
Yeah.
Now, because disease awareness needs to be certified in its final form,
Yeah.
it means that if you and I or a company employee came along and reposted that with our thoughts, we've actually amended final form, and that could then be a breach of the code. So it's really, if you think that's disease awareness and needs to be certified, either just repost it and certainly don't add any of your own thoughts to it.
Okay, brilliant.
Thanks very much, Dean. I think we could probably talk a bit longer about disease awareness, but we'll save that for another podcast.
Yes, part 2. Thanks very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.